That morning was nothing out of the ordinary. Just another Saturday morning in suburban Austin, Texas. The sun was gentle, casting light over freshly cut grass after I just finished mowing, each blade neat and tidy. Like everything in my married life that I thought was stable. The scent of soil, sweat, and cold beer mingled in the air, the smell of peace. I opened a can of beer and stepped into the house, expecting to find my wife, Jessica, laughing about something she'd found online. Maybe asking what we'd grill tonight. But no. Jessica was sitting silently on the couch, the light from her phone glowing across her cheek. She giggled, a soft, personal kind of giggle that wasn't meant for me. The way she tilted her head, covering her mouth as if hiding some cute little secret, it sent a chill through me. "What's so funny, babe?" I asked casually, reaching for a towel to wipe my forehead. Jessica didn't answer. She just nodded vaguely, eyes still glued to her screen. My heart skipped a beat, faintly. But I shook it off, telling myself it was probably just a group chat. My wife's always been sociable. I reminded myself. I trusted her. But over the next few days, that uneasy feeling began to grow inside me, like an infected wound just beneath the skin. Jessica started working late. Sometimes we didn't even share dinner all week. She said she had a new project. Lots of pressure. Constant team meetings in Houston. She bought new clothes, new perfume, a scent I had never smelled before in all 12 years of marriage. And then, the worst part, she changed her phone password. That was the first time in my life I felt truly shut out of my wife's world. Every night, she lay with her back to me, clutching her phone like it was some sacred relic. I lay there behind her, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling. Every word I wanted to say just died in my throat. Until one night, she came home late from another work trip. Looked a little tired but strangely radiant. She said she was going to take a shower and left her phone charging on the kitchen table. I stood there, face to face with her phone, like it was Pandora's box. I hesitated. Part of me wanted to walk away, wanted to trust her, but the other part, the part that had been starved by her silence and coldness, took control. I picked up the phone, and to my surprise, she hadn't changed the password, as if she was so sure I wouldn't dare question her. The screen lit up with a new message from a name I didn't recognize, Brandon Miller. I tapped it. "Last night was electric. Still taste your lips." My entire body went numb. My vision blurred for a second. I scrolled, and every message was a stab to the chest. "Miss the way you whisper in my ear. Galveston was perfect for our weekend. You deserve to be loved the way I love you." I was trembling. A photo appeared. Jessica, my wife, leaning on a man's shoulder in a hotel room. She was wearing a white shirt, looking at the camera with a boldness that made me sick. And that man, it was Brandon. I recognized him from her office events. I dropped the phone back on the table, heart hammering in my chest. For a second, I wanted to scream, smash things, yank her out of the shower. But then, I heard the water still running. Jessica was softly humming, like an innocent woman with nothing to hide. I closed my eyes. Cold. I knew then, if I blew up now, she'd deny everything, cry, play the victim. No, I couldn't let myself become the unhinged husband. I had to play this smart. That night, I lay next to her, as usual. But my heart felt empty. I turned away from her, clutching my pillow, and I made myself a promise. "You're not going to be the betrayed man sobbing in the bathroom. You're going to turn this betrayal into an ending they'll never forget." The next morning, I got up earlier than usual. The sky was still wrapped in a thin mist. Jessica was sound asleep, breathing calmly, her face peaceful, like a child. Looking at her then, no one would have guessed that this woman had crushed the heart of the man lying beside her for 12 years. I stepped out into the backyard with a steaming cup of coffee. My mind was spinning, but strangely, I didn't feel panic. I felt clear-headed. Maybe pain, when it gets too deep, stops screaming and just turns cold, like steel. I sat at the table and opened my laptop. First mission: find out more about Brandon Miller, the man who had wormed his way into my marriage like termites through oak. It didn't take long. On LinkedIn, he was listed as the South Region Marketing Director for Jessica's company. Good looking, slicked back hair, crisp white dress shirt, that corporate smile, perfect to the point of being fake. I scrolled down and found an old tagged photo, with his wife, Amanda Miller. Curious, I searched her on Facebook. Amanda's profile hit me in a way I didn't expect. She was a first-grade teacher in Round Rock, just outside Austin. Her feed was full of family pictures, birthday parties, camping trips, cozy dinners. She loved Brandon with her whole heart. You could see it in the way she smiled at him in every photo. In one post, she'd written, "The boy's hero. My forever man." I froze. I wasn't the only one being cheated on. She was, too. And suddenly, I didn't feel alone anymore. Something stirred in me, not just grief, but a deep, aching sympathy. This kind, soft-eyed woman was also sleeping next to a liar, just like I was. I sat there for a long time, until a thought struck me, sharp and undeniable. If I'm in pain, then so should he be. If I was betrayed by the person I trusted most, then he deserves to feel that betrayal too. Right in front of the woman who loves him blindly. I decided I wouldn't confront Jessica. No fighting, no yelling. I'd let her think she was winning, that everything was under control. And then, I'd pull the rug out from under her, in front of everyone. The plan started to take shape, step by step. Like one of the engineering projects I'd spent years designing. I picked the perfect day, 4th of July. Independence Day, when the whole neighborhood would be hosting backyard parties. Barbecues, fireworks, laughter. I would host my own party. A completely normal, all-American barbecue, until it wasn't. I opened Facebook and typed a short message to Amanda. "Hi Amanda, this is Michael, Jessica's husband. Our families share some mutual connections through her work, and we're hosting a 4th of July barbecue at our place. I'd be happy to have you and Brandon join us if you're free." I hit send. My fingers trembled. 1 minute, 2, then my phone buzzed. "Thanks for the invite, Michael. Sounds fun. Brandon and I will be there, looking forward to meeting everyone." I smiled, for the first time in weeks. Not because I was happy, but because I knew the game had officially begun, and I was going to be the one calling checkmate. July 4th arrived on a mild, sunlit morning. The sky was clear. American flags fluttered from every porch in the neighborhood. All of Austin seemed wrapped in a festive mood. The scent of grilled meat, bursts of laughter, and the crackle of fireworks in the distance filled the air, but inside me, there was only silence, the quiet of a plan that was ready to unfold. Jessica got up early, wearing the white dress I'd once given her for our 10th anniversary. She tied her hair up, dabbed on a soft layer of lipstick, and turned to me with a cheerful smile. "So, who's coming today? Anyone from my office?" I kept a straight face. "A few folks. You'll be surprised." Jessica laughed, that light, careless laugh, not knowing that hell was already walking through our backyard. She moved about the yard, hanging string lights, arranging flowers on tables, folding napkins just so, and I stood on the edge of it all, watching her like a lead actress stepping into a script she thought she'd written, unaware that I was the one directing the final scene. By noon, our backyard looked like something straight out of a magazine. White chairs, red checkered napkins, tiny flags stuck into burgers, string lights twinkling in the daylight, the smell of barbecue floating in the air. Everything was perfect, and everything was bait. At 3 p.m., the first guests arrived. Neighbors, friends, old college buddies, some of Jessica's coworkers. Everyone brought smiles, drinks, and the casual ease of a summer holiday. Jessica floated around in her white dress, snapping selfies, laughing like a good host. I stayed quiet, waiting for the moment. 4:12 p.m. Brandon and Amanda stepped through the wooden gate into our backyard. I saw them the moment they appeared. Brandon wore a pale blue polo and khakis. His smile tight and forced. Amanda had on a beige floral dress, hair loose, holding a homemade pie, friendly, sweet, completely unaware she was about to walk into emotional detonation. Jessica turned around, and for a fraction of a second, her face froze, her mouth parted slightly, eyes widened, hands stiffened in midair. But then she forced a smile and walked forward to greet them. "Amanda, right? I've heard so much about you. So nice to finally meet." Amanda beamed. "Jessica, Brandon mentioned you work in the same department. You're even prettier in person." That innocent sentence was a knife straight into Jessica's chest. I stood nearby with the grill tongs, watching her shoulder twitch, the grip around her glass tighten. Brandon kept his head low, didn't even meet Jessica's eyes. I approached with a smile and reached out to shake Brandon's hand. "Hey, Brandon, Glad you both made it. Mind giving me a hand with the grill? Brandon hesitated, then nodded with a stiff smile. But as we walked to the corner of the yard, I leaned in, speaking low enough so only he could hear. You should enjoy this party. It might be the last time your wife ever stands next to you without slapping you in the face. He stopped cold. I turned before he could respond. From across the lawn, Jessica watched us, eyes frantic. She knew, and I let her stew in that fear for the next 2 hours. The party rolled on. I introduced Amanda to everyone. She was kind, easy to talk to, chatting with neighbors, completely at ease. Meanwhile, Jessica sat off to the side, white dress wrinkling under her clenched fingers. She couldn't take it anymore. She walked up to me, forcing a soft voice. Michael, why is Amanda here? I tilted my head. She's a guest. You invited your people. I invited mine. That's fair, right? Jessica didn't reply. She knew, and I let her drown in the silence of her own making. By the time the sky dimmed and the string lights glowed like a dreamscape, I stood up and clinked my beer bottle. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Today isn't just about celebrating freedom. It's about celebrating truth. And not just the truth of a nation, but the truth that sets you free from lies. I paused. My eyes scanned the crowd. Landing on Jessica, she was trembling. Then I turned to Amanda. Thank you for being here. Amanda, I think you deserve to know that your husband and my wife have been sleeping together for almost a year. Silence fell like a bomb. Amanda froze. She turned to Brandon, eyes wide with disbelief. Tell me he's lying. Tell me that's not true. Brandon looked down, said nothing. Jessica stumbled back, whispering, Michael, please? I'm sorry. I walked over to the outdoor TV and plugged in the USB. Text messages, hotel receipts, selfies, dates. Everything appeared on screen, undeniable. Damning. Amanda cried. Brandon's face turned crimson. Jessica dropped to her knees. I said one last thing. They didn't just betray us. They betrayed the people who believed in them, their kids, their friends, this entire community. But starting today, the only thing left is the truth. After the party, the backyard, once filled with laughter, lights, and the scent of barbecue, was now just scattered chairs, broken plastic cups, and a silence so heavy it could crush a man's chest. The guests left quietly. No one said goodbye to Jessica. No one checked on Brandon. People whispered, avoided eye contact. The truth had come out, and it had cut through everything. Amanda left the yard like someone who had lost her sense of direction. She pulled Brandon by the arm, then let him go. Her face was pale, eyes empty. No one stopped her. She turned back for just a second and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, I don't need any more explanations. Starting today, both of you are dead to me. Jessica was still there, sitting on the grass in her now dirty white dress. Eyes vacant. She was no longer the poised, seductive woman who had once controlled the room. Now, she was just someone who had detonated her own life. I walked over and placed a blanket and pillow on the patio bench. You'll sleep out here tonight. Tomorrow, we talk about divorce. Jessica looked up, her voice trembling, nearly breaking. Michael, I know I was wrong. Can we just talk? Just the two of us? I stared at her, really stared. Maybe for the first time in months. No, you didn't care about privacy when you were texting Brandon at midnight. You didn't need space when you were in a Galveston hotel room with him. So don't ask for it now. She broke down crying. But tears from a cheater, they held no weight anymore. I turned and walked inside the house. Closed the door behind me. For the first time in months, I could breathe. The following week was paperwork. Attorneys, splitting up the house, the assets. Everything happened quietly. Jessica had no one in her corner. People who used to clink glasses with her at Christmas parties avoided her now. They didn't say it, but their eyes screamed, you brought this on yourself. She moved out on a cloudy afternoon. An old SUV idled at the curb. She packed suitcases, canvas bags, even took a wedding photo with the frame removed. Right before stepping into the car, she looked back at me one last time, eyes swollen and glassy. I still love you, Michael, even if you'll never believe it again. I didn't respond. I just looked at her. There was no hate, no love either. Just the silence of a man who had forgiven, but would never return. In the month that followed, I repainted the house, changed the curtains, Got rid of the old couch Jessica used to lounge on. I bought back my old skateboard, the one I used to love in college. And every afternoon, I sat in the backyard with a cold beer, the same yard where the great unmasking had happened. One quiet evening, I got a message from Amanda. "Thank you for telling the truth. If you're free, I'd like to grab a coffee. Not for anything big, just, I think survivors should understand each other." We met at a little cafe near Lady Bird Lake. The weather was cool, the breeze soft, trees rustling gently. Amanda looked different, shorter hair, a soft sweater, but in her eyes, I saw someone just like me, a person who'd walked through fire and still had their dignity intact. We didn't talk much about what had happened. We didn't need to. We shared stories of trying to sleep through panic attacks, of learning to live alone again. She smiled faintly at one point. "I used to think you were clueless, Michael, but now, I realize you were the strongest person in that backyard." I smiled back and raised my cup. "We're not victims anymore, Amanda. We're survivors." That night, I came home and opened the video file from the 4th of July party, just a short clip of Brandon's face the moment I said, "sleeping with my wife." I turned it off, walked out to the backyard. The moon was up, the flag still swayed softly on its old wooden post. I sat in the same chair, raised my beer, and whispered to myself, "Jessica lost a husband. Brandon lost his wife. I lost 12 years. But I gained something they can never take from me again. I got myself back."